I shot my husband in the chest with his own .45, right there in our kitchen, the one we'd remodeled with dreams of kids who never came. The bullet didn't kill him. Not yet, but as he slumped against the fridge, gasping like a fish on the dock, I whispered, "You said she was worth it, Jack. Prove it now." And then I walked out, leaving the door open for the sirens, because in America, revenge isn't clean. It's a subscription you pay for with your soul. That was 6 months ago, and I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. My name's McKinley, Kinley to most, but Jack always dragged it out like Mac, like we were some power couple from a Scorsese flick. We weren't. We were just another pair of Chicago strivers, clawing our way up from nothing in the Windy City, where the lake wind bites harder than the betrayal. I grew up in a shotgun house on the south side, Mom waitressing doubles at Harold's Chicken Shack, Dad ghosting us for the ponies at Hawthorne. Jack came from the North Shore burbs, all wasp polish and Daddy's trust fund scraps, but he swore he was slumming it for the grit. We met at a DePaul mixer, him nursing a flat Laney's, me dodging frat boys with wandering hands. He called me his diamond in the rough, and I bought it hook, line, and sinker. Our life was the American dream on installment, a Lincoln Park brownstone with exposed brick we couldn't quite afford, my graphic design gigs freelancing for ad agencies, his real estate flips turning foreclosures into flip houses for millennial tech bros fleeing Silicon Valley. We talked big, adoptions from Eastern Europe, a cabin up in Door County, hell, even a food truck empire slinging deep dish fusion. But Jack had secrets, the kind that fester like mold in a basement flood. It started small, late nights at client meetings, cologne that smelled like someone else's regret, texts buzzing his phone like angry hornets. I ignored it because denial's cheaper than divorce in Illinois. The bomb dropped on a Tuesday in July, heat wave turning the city into a skillet. I was home early from a pitch at Leo Burnett, some bullshit campaign for organic kale chips, when I found the envelope. Not ours. It was tucked in his briefcase, addressed to a P.O. box in River North. Inside, bank statements, wire transfers to an offshore account in the Caymans, and emails from a lawyer in Delaware about shell companies. Jack hadn't just been flipping houses. He'd been laundering cash from a Ponzi scheme, sucking in his golf buddies and church ladies with promises of 15% returns on guaranteed condo developments that existed only on Photoshop mock-ups. The kicker? The feds were closing in, and the paper trail led straight to me. Forged signatures on LLC docs, my SSN stamped like a cattle brand. He'd pinned it all on me to buy time, whispering to his attorney that I was the loose cannon with the gambling habit, lies he'd planted over years, small fibs about my bad bets at Rivers Casino that snowballed into gospel. I confronted him that night over takeout from Giordano's, the deep dish cooling like our marriage. Jack, what the fuck is this? I shoved the printouts across the table, my voice cracking like Lake Michigan ice. He didn't flinch, just sipped his Malort, that bitter wormwood shit he loved, and lit a Camel. Kinley, baby, it's nothing. Just precautions. The market's volatile. Volatile, like the vein throbbing in my temple. He spun it smooth like always. I was stressed from deadlines, imagining things, maybe hitting the sauce too hard after hours. By dawn, he'd convinced me to sign a confession voluntary, he said, to take the heat off us both. Said it'd be a misdemeanor, community service, a slap on the wrist. I did it in his study, the one with the mahogany desk his old man bought him, pen shaking as I scrawled my name. For love, for us, for the lie we'd built. The court was a circus. Federal building downtown. All marble and metal detectors, prosecutors in power suits painting me as the Black Widow of real estate. Ms. Harlan defrauded seniors out of their retirement nests, the lead eagle screeched, flashing my signature on a projector. Jack sat in the gallery, eyes downcast, the picture of the grieving spouse. I got 18 months at Logan Women's Correctional, a concrete hellhole in the cornfields outside Dwight, where the showers smelled like despair and the guards traded favors for smokes. I served 9, out on good behavior, emerging into a world that had moved on without me. Jack had sold the brownstone, pocketed the equity, and vanished into a condo in Streeterville with his consulting gig. Our friends? Radio silence. Except for the whispers. He told the guys at the 19th hole, his weekly poker den, that I was unhinged, that the stress cracked me, and yeah, he'd met someone new. Someone worth it. Her name was Tessa. Blonde, Pilates sculpted, the kind of woman who posts boss babe brunches on Insta while daddy's oil money funds her entrepreneurship. She was his real estate partner, the one who'd been in on the flips from the jump, signing off on the shady deals while I slaved over comps. I pieced it together from a burner account I'd set up in the joint. Facebook stalking on a smuggled Nokia, the kind with snake that the COs pretended not to see. Photos of them at Alinea, her hand on his thigh under the tasting menu, captions about second chances and building empires. And there it was, buried in a group chat screenshot some mutual idiot leaked. Jack, 3 whiskeys deep, toasting with his cronies. Tessa? She's worth it. Kinley's old news. Crazy bitch took the fall like a champ. That phrase. She's worth it. It looped in my head like a drill sergeant during burpees, grinding down the last shreds of forgiveness. I got out on a crisp October morning, leaves turning the prison yard to fire, and hitched a Greyhound back to the city. No welcome party, just a duffel with my commissary cash, $2.37, and a bus pass. I crashed at a YWCA in Pilsen, the walls thin as tissue, neighbors blasting Vonda MS at 3 a.m. But I had a plan. Revenge isn't a sprint, it's a marathon through the swamps of bureaucracy and back alleys. First, I hit the public library on Washington, poring over pacer dockets on their ancient PCs, cross-referencing Jack's shell core with SEC filings. Turns out, Tessa wasn't just arm candy. She was the brains, the one who'd cooked the books while Jack played frontman. Emails I'd missed before, subpoenaed now that I was reformed, showed her wiring kickbacks to Cayman trusts, even forging my name on a few. But the real gem? A video from a hidden cam in his office, the one I'd installed as a surprise for his birthday, thinking it'd catch him working late. Instead, it caught them, him and her, mid-tryst on the desk, laughing about how I'd eat the blame, and they'd sail off to Miami on the profits. I downloaded it all onto a thumb drive, wrapped in red velvet like a Tiffany box, and addressed it to Tessa's Gold Coast Pi de Terra. No note, just a tag, from an old friend. Open alone. I dropped it at the post office on Michigan Avenue, the clerk eyeing my thrift store code, like I was mailing anthrax. Then I waited, holing up in a no-tell-motel off Cicero, nursing black coffee, and plotting the flip. Jack had always been the charmer, the guy who could talk a mark into mortgaging grandma's ring. But Tessa? She was sharper, a viper in Lululemon, flipping from ally to adversary with a smile. She'd been my gal pal, once, brunching at the Bristol, spilling tea on her exes while I vented about Jack's moods. Now, she was the queen, and I was the ghost rattling chains. The scream came via a tip from a nurse at Northwestern Memorial, Jack's poker buddy's wife, who'd owed me a favor from the old days. Tessa lost it last night, she texted from a block number. Opened some package, started howling like a banshee. Cops showed, but she clammed up. Your handiwork. I didn't reply, just smiled into the steam of my diner hash browns. The video had done its job, grainy footage of their pillow talk, her voice crystal. Once Kinley's locked up, we dissolve the LLCs, transfer to my name. You get the condo, I get the beach house. Followed by moans, the desk creaking like a gallows. No blood, no bodies, just truth, raw and rotten, the kind that ends worlds without a single shot. But revenge is a two-way street, choked with potholes and pissed-off drivers. Tessa didn't crumble. She lawyered up, the same Delaware shark who'd buried me. By week's end, she was on CNN Chicago affiliate, teary-eyed in a cashmere sweater. I had no idea about the fraud. Jack misled us all, me, the investors, his poor wife. Poor wife. Me, the felon fresh out. Jack, playing the victim card harder, issued a statement from his rehab stint in Arizona. Betrayal cuts deep. Praying for healing. Healing. Like slapping a Band-Aid on a gut wound. The feds reopened the case, hauling me in for obstruction. Tessa claiming I'd hacked their cloud, tampered with evidence. Bullshit, but in Cook County, Truth bends for the highest bidder. I lawyered up too. Public defender with a mustache like a broom and eyes like he'd seen too many plea deals. We met in a windowless conference room at the Dirksen, fluorescent buzz like angry bees. "McKinley, this is dicey," he drawled, shuffling files. "They've got your prints on the drive. Postmark traces to you. Play nice, maybe reduce sentence." Reduced. From zero to hero felon again.
No.
I leaned in, voice low. "I want immunity. In exchange, I testify. Everything." His eyebrows shot up. "Against who?" "Your ex." I nodded. "Both of them. But here's the twist. I recorded Jack confessing, post-prison. Begged me to come back, said it was all her idea. Lie, but lies are currency in this game. I deep-faked a audio clip on a library laptop. Jack's voice, sampled from voicemails, spilling that Tessa masterminded the whole Ponzi, him just the patsy. Controversial? Hell yes. Perjury's a sin, but so's framing your wife for white-collar Armageddon. The plea dance dragged into December, snow blanketing the loop like a shroud. Tessa flipped first, offered to roll on Jack for drop charges, painting him as the devil in Dockers. He countered, leaking to the Sun-Times that she was the seductress schemer, complete with affidavits from jilted investors claiming she'd charmed them into ruin.
Me?
I stayed silent, the wild card in the deck, feeding anonymous tips to the Trib about their offshore slush fund. The city ate it up, headlines screaming love triangle turns toxic. Who screwed who? Protests outside the courthouse. Feminists chanting for me as the wronged woman. MAGA types decrying the deep state takedown of Jack's small business. Divided, just like Thanksgiving dinner with a Trump uncle. Climax hit on a sleet-lashed night in the Palmer House lobby. All crystal chandeliers and ghosts of Al Capone. I'd lured them there with a forged invite. Anonymous donor seeks reconciliation. Drinks on me. Jack arrived first, rumpled trench coat, eyes darting like a cornered rat. "Kinley? What the hell? This some setup." I sipped my old-fashioned, cherries bobbing like buoys.
"Seat.
"We've got unfinished business." He did, muttering about therapy and fresh starts. Then Tessa swept in, for stole and frostbite glare. "You bitch," she hissed, spotting me. That gift nearly tanked my life. Jack's face drained, realization dawning. "You send the tape?" The bar emptied like a sinking ship as voices rose. Accusations flew. Him blaming her for the fraud blueprint, her countering with his embezzled seed money, me dropping the deepfake audio like a grenade. "Listen," I said, hitting play on my phone. Jack's voice echoed. "Tessa, it was your plan, frame Kinley, split the pot. I never wanted this." Her jaw dropped, his fists clenched. "That's not me. You doctored it." Chaos. A shoved chair, a spilled scotch, her clawing at his collar while valets called 911. I watched, heart pounding like a jackhammer, as they tore into each other. Love's autopsy in real time. Controversial? Damn right. Was I the avenger or the arsonist, torching the bridge after crossing? Readers, hell, even I couldn't decide. Justice or jihad? Cops hauled them off in zip cuffs, me walking free with a warn-off from my PD. Don't push it, Harlan. The case imploded after that. Joint indictments, asset freezes, tabloids dubbing it the Windy City Waterfall. Tessa took a plea, 5 years, no contact. Jack got 8, his worth-it girl ratting him out for leniency.
Me?
I vanished to a studio in Wicker Park, graphic design under a fresh LLC, clean as a whistle. But the twist, the one that keeps me up, staring at the L tracks rattling past, came in a letter from Jack, smuggled via his sister. "Kinley, you win. But that audio? It was real. I confessed to the PI you hired, the one I thought was mine. She's worth it?
Nah.
You always were. Forgive me."
Real.
Not fake. I'd hired no PI. He'd spilled to shadows, paranoia eating him alive. The betrayal looped back, his guilt, unprompted, handed me the noose. Happy ending? I burned the letter, but kept the ashes in a locket. In America, revenge ends with questions, not periods. Who's the villain now? Winter gripped Chicago like a grudge, the kind that doesn't thaw till May. I woke most nights to the howl of the L train, its red eyes streaking past my window like accusations on rails. The studio was a shoebox, exposed ducts dripping condensation, a hot plate for ramen that tasted like regret. But it was mine, paid for with freelance checks from logos I'd inked for craft breweries and boutique law firms, the irony not lost on me. No more Harlan on the masthead. I was McKinley Voss now, a nod to the silent film star who'd burned bright and faded fast.
Fitting.
The fallout from the Palmer House brawl rippled like a stone in Lake Calumet. Tessa's Insta went dark, her hustle-hard feeds replaced by court sketches in the Reader, her in orange jumpsuit, hair a frizzy halo, the viper unscaled. Jack's face made the Trib's obit section for his empire, foreclosures hitting his name like dominoes. Our old crew scattered, poker pals ghosting, brunch bitches blocking. One reached out, Lila, the yoga instructor who'd crashed our wedding with a +1 who puked in the punch bowl. Kinley? Oh my god, girl, you slayed.
Coffee?
My treat. I met her at Intelligentsia on Broadway, steam rising from our macchiatos like peace offerings. She gushed, Tessa was always a snake. Remember that time she borrowed your earrings and ghosted? I nodded, sipping slow. Lies, all of it. Lila had liked every post of theirs, heart emojis on Bali Valkyries funded by my prison tears. But under the froth, the cracks showed. You okay?
Like really?
Her eyes flicked to my wrist, the faded tattoo, J&M intertwined, done on a whim in Vegas. I covered it with my sleeve. Peachy. Just plotting world domination, one vector file at a time. She laughed, but it died quick. Heard Jack's appealing. Says you entrapped him. Entrapped. The words stuck like gum on my soul. I left with her number unsaved, the city's gray slush sucking at my boots. Back home, I scrolled Pacer again, his motion-filed pro-essay, rambling about marital coercion and feminazi agendas. Me, the villain now. The twist letter burned a hole in my drawer, his words a siren's call. Forgive me? For what? The fraud, the frame, or the love that soured. Spring teased early that year, daffodils pushing through concrete like defiant middle fingers. I took a gig at a co-working space in Fulton Market, the old meatpacking district reborn as hipster heaven. Exposed brick, pour-over coffee, millennials in beanies pitching apps for dog-walking NFTs. My desk overlooked the river, barges chugging like hungover elephants. There, I met Dex, a coder with tattoos snaking up his arms like kudzu, building software for whistleblower hotlines. Anonymity's an art, he said over lunch at the Publican, foie gras sliders that cost more than my weekly grocery. You ever blow the lid off something big? His eyes, green as the L tracks, held mine too long. I shrugged.
Once.
Burned the house down with it. We fell into rhythm. Late nights debugging his beta, me sketching UI mocks with a stylus that felt like a scalpel. He knew my story. Chicago's a village. Scandals spread faster than norovirus at Lollapalooza. Badass, he called it, not pitying, just fact. Sex came easy. His walk-up in Ukrainian village, thrift store sheets smelling of patchouli and possibility. No strings, but they tangled anyway. Him cooking pierogies from his grandma's recipe. Me spilling about the South Side, the way Mom's laugh could cut through gunshots. You're not broken, kin, he'd murmur post-coitus, tracing my tattoo. Your remix. I liked that, sampling the pain, looping it into power. But Jack's ghost lurked. A subpoena pinged my inbox, depo for his appeal, Tessa's lawyers dragging me back to the Dirksen. I prepped with Dex's VPN wizardry, scrubbing my digital trail till it gleamed. The room was the same, stale coffee, bailiff's cough like tuberculosis. Tessa's counsel, a shark in pinstripes named Hargrove, led the charge. Ms. Voss, excuse me, Harlan, you admit sending the USB? Contents designed to provoke. I crossed my legs, channeling every Lifetime movie scorned wife. Provoke? Truth provokes, counselor. Like your client forging my cigs. He blustered. I smiled. Then Jack's turn, video link from Terre Haute, hollow cheeks, prison buzz cut making him look like a monk gone rogue. Kinley, he rasped, pixelated.
Why?
After everything. Everything. The word hung, heavy as a noose. I leaned into the mic. You told your friends she was worth it. I just let her see the bill. Gasps from the gallery, reporters scribbling like fiends. Hargrove objected. Judge sustained. But the seed planted, Tessa's plea unraveling, her no-knowledge crumbling under the video's weight. Post-depo, Dex waited curbside in his rust-bucket Civic, wipers slapping sleet. You crushed it. We drove to his place, bodies colliding like storm fronts. Later, tangled in sheets, he asked the question I'd dodged for months. That letter real? I froze. How'd he know? Snooped your mail? He chuckled.
Nah.
You mutter in your sleep.
Forgive.
Who's begging? I told him, the ashes in my locket spilling like confetti from hell. He listened, no judgment, just a hand on my hip. Twist's yours to pull. But don't let it choke you. Summer scorched in, humidity turning the lake to soup. The appeal tanked, Jack's deepfake claim backfiring when forensics pegged it as real? No, the original confession to his PI, a fixer he'd hired to tail me post-prison, convinced I'd bolt with the cash. The tapes surfaced in Discovery. Him, drunk in a booth at the Green Mill, spilling to the shadow. Tessa's the architect. Framed Kinley to cover tracks. God, what have I done? The PI, a crooked ex-cop, sold it to the feds for immunity. Jack's motion denied. Sentence up to 12. Tessa flipped harder, testifying against him for house arrest, ankle bracelet clinking like karma's bell. I should have felt vindicated, but victory tasted like ash. Dex proposed a road trip, Route 66 Redux, his Civic groaning west to the Grand Canyon. Reset button, he said, packing a cooler of IPAs and my sketchpad. We blasted Springsteen, Born to Run, blasting over mesas that swallowed secrets. In a Flagstaff motel, neon buzzing, vacancy like a heartbeat, he knelt with a ring from a Navajo trader, turquoise and silver, no diamond bullshit. Marry me, Kin. Not for the story, for the sequel. I said yes, tears mixing with the red dirt on my cheeks. Happy? Close enough. But America doesn't do tidy. Back in Chicago, autumn leaves crunching like bones, the letter's echo grew. Jack's sister called, collect from the prison line. He's dying, Kin. Liver from the booze. Asks for you.
Dying.
The word punched like that .45 I'd imagined. Dex urged no. That's the hook pulling you back. But forgiveness? It's the ultimate controversy. Absolution for the unforgivable, or suicide by sentiment. I went, alone. The visiting room at Terre Haute, a fluorescent purgatory, inmates shuffling like zombies in khakis. Jack looked spectral, yellow skin, eyes sunken as the Marquette Lagoon. You came. Voice a rasp. I sat, glass between us like the Berlin Wall. Not for you. For me. He nodded, coughing into a tissue spotted red. The letter.
Truth.
Always loved you, Mac. Tessa was the escape. The worth it was a lie to sell myself. Lies within lies. I pressed. Why frame me? Shrug, weak.
Fear. Thought you'd leave if the money dried.
Stupid. We talked hours, South Side stories, DePaul dances, the cabin dream. No apologies, just echoes. As time called, he gripped the phone. Twist it right, Kin. Live. He coded that night, alone in his cell. Official. Heart failure. Tabloids spun it, scandal king croaks. But I knew. The scream that ended it wasn't Tessa's. It was his, silent into the void. Dex held me at the funeral. Closed casket, no flowers, just rain. You okay? I touched the locket. Ashes gone to wind over the lake. Debating. Was it revenge or release? Winter circled back, a vulture picking at the bones of the year. Dex and I made it official in a Logan Square courthouse, judge with a bow tie officiating over couples who'd rather be anywhere else. No vows, just signatures and a kiss that tasted like freedom, his stubble rough, my tattoo covered by a cuff from our Flagstaff score. We honeymooned local, Dive bar crawl from the empty bottle to the viaduct, shots of Jepson's Malort toasting the bitter end of old chapters. To remixes, Dex clinked, his grin crooked as the Chicago River. I laughed, real, the kind that bubbles from the gut. Life slotted in, puzzle pieces jagged but fitting. I landed a full-time at a design firm in the Loop, campaigns for green energy startups, irony-rich as the lakefront condos Jack once flipped. Dex's app launched, ShadowNet, a blockchain beast for tipsters dodging Big Brother. We moved to a 2-flat in Andersonville, third-floor walk-up with a balcony overlooking a Korean barbecue joint that filled the air with garlic ghosts. Nights, him coding till dawn, me sketching under a desk lamp, the L's rumble our lullaby. Sex evolved, less frantic, more map-making, tracing scars both seen and unseen. But the past doesn't die, it metastasizes. Tessa surfaced first, 6 months post-Jack, a LinkedIn DM from a ghost account. We need to talk. Coffee? Neutral ground. Neutral. Like Switzerland in a blood feud. I blocked it, but curiosity's a itch that spreads. A week later, she escalated, showing at my firm's holiday mixer, uninvited, in a sheathed dress that screamed, reformed vixen. Kinley Voss, she purred, champagne flute trembling. Or should I say Harlan? Congrats on the glow-up. Dex stiffened beside me, hand on my elbow.
Tessa.
Ankles still jingling. She laughed, brittle. House arrest ended. Clean slate. Lies, she was on probation, community service at a women's shelter, the kind I'd known inside. We stepped out to the alley, snow flurries dancing like confetti from hell. What do you want? No pleasantries. Chicago winters stripped the fat. Her breath fogged. Jack's estate. The offshore stuff, the feds missed a sliver. Tucked in a trust he named you beneficiary.
Me.
After everything. Bullshit. She pulled a thumb drive. Irony's encore from her clutch. See for yourself. Passwords, word hit. He wanted you to have it, the real pot clean now. For the kids you never had.
Kids.
The word knifed. Old wounds reopening. Jack's dream, whispered in fevered nights, now currency from the grave. I took it, not trusting her smile. Too sharp, like a plea bargain gone south. Back home, Dex watched as I plugged in, files blooming. Deeds to a Door County cabin, stocks in solar plays, enough to fund that food truck empire twice over. And a video, Jack pre-prison in our old study. Kinley, if you see this.
I'm sorry.
The frame was cowardice. Tessa was distraction. This is yours. Build what we couldn't. Tears hit the keys, blurring pixels. Twist upon twist. Not guilt's gift, but insurance. He'd stashed it pre-collapse, a parachute for the innocent. Tessa's angle? She wanted half. Finder's fee, she called it, eyes hungry. We split, walk away queens. Queens. Of what ruin? I met her again, this time at a Starbucks in Wrigleyville, the scent of popcorn from the ballpark mocking our summit. No, I said flat. It's mine. Her face cracked, rage then cunning. Then I go public. Tell the Trib you blackmailed me with that tape. Perp Walk 2.0. Blackmail. The controversy cranked. Victim or villainous. Dex advised lawyering up, but I went rogue. Hired a PI, the legit kind, to dig her dirt. Turns out probation violation. She'd been freelancing consults for shady flips, same playbook. Climax Redux, this time in a Bucktown warehouse loft. Hers, Airbnb'd under a fake. I showed solo, drive in pocket like a loaded chamber. Tessa, let's end this. She poured wine, red as accusation, the space echoing with exposed beams and regret. Smart girl. Half, and we burn the files. We talked circles, her spinning victim tales, me countering with the video's truth. Then the flip, her phone buzzed, a text from her lawyer. Feds circling. Drop it. Panic flashed. She lunged for the drive. Scuffle. Wine spilling like blood, a shove sending her tumbling over a rug's edge, head cracking on the hardwood. Not hard, concussion territory, not coma, but sirens wailed distant, her moan rising to that scream. echo of the gift. I bolted, heart slamming, drive clutched like a talisman. Cops? None came my way. Her 911 call mumbled accident, pride swallowing the truth. But the divide deepened. Forums lit up, Reddit threads debating Kinley strikes back, hero or hench. Feminists hailed vigilante justice. Trads cried gold-digging psycho. Dex held the line. Your call, but don't solo it. We wired the funds to legit causes, half to Logan inmates' reentry, half to Southside youth arts. The cabin? Rented to families, no empire, just echoes. Ending? Debatable as a Supreme Court leak. Tessa vanished to Miami. Whispers of a plea extension. Me and Dex? We adopted a mutt from Paws, named him Twist, curly tail, endless energy. Nights on the balcony, his head in my lap, I sketch futures. Food trucks? Yes, but vegan deep dish for the hood. Jack's letter? Framed, ashes scattered in the locket's void. Forgiveness? Partial, enough to sleep, not enough to forget. In America, revenge is a cycle, controversial as the Second Amendment. Right or ruin? You tell me. The scream that ended it? Hers, mine, his, pick your poison. But damn if it didn't rewrite the score.